Why, hello, hello, hello. How are we all doing today? Oh, you know what's funny? Like sometimes like you realize something about yourself and you just become critical. I just remembered when we were designing like the boatload of emotes that I'm having being made. I, that's where it is. I just get distracted by so many things at once. I didn't know when or where I took it off. I had it off the entire day yesterday, and Brittany did not notice it. And as I was just looking down my microphone, I saw it sitting there. It's not technically lost if it's gone for only 36 hours. It hasn't been 36 hours until 9 a.m. 34 hours after not being able to find it. I found it. Okay. All right. Sorry, distracted. Brittany was like, hello, hello, hello. You say that so often. I was like, what? Do I? She's like, yeah. And now every time I start a stream or a recording, I realize it and I'm like, God damn it. But you like realize it after you've already said it and you're like, I hate myself. So, but good morning, boys. Are you upset I interrupted your conversation? Do you want to go back to talking about Australians not being involved in the Pacific Rim cartoon or the other things?
For chat's sake,
Castlevania.
the Pacific Rim cartoon on Netflix. The second I knew that Australians were not involved in it was when they talked about Brisbane, as it's Brisbane, but it's Brisbane in the show. I'm like, that's no.
Why did you take the ring off again?
It's uncomfortable. In the morning, your hands are often swollen in the morning, especially if you had salty foods. So like last night I had we went out for pizza yesterday, and so it's like it's uncomfortable in the morning. So I usually don't like wearing it in the morning.
You got gout. Yeah.
I mean,
maybe you need it resized.
No, because it comes like throughout most of the day, it comes off and goes on super easily. It's literally just like the morning. So like, and probably like a good hour and a half, I'll be fine. Yeah, it's just your hands swell.
Oh, okay.
It's a normal thing for your hands to swell overnight. So
I guess that makes sense.
yeah,
Ish.
yeah. I mean, when you're
It makes enough sense.
when you're shackled down, then
To be fair, when you get a bit older, your lymphatic system and your venous system are less able to cope with like leakage of fluids, so you do end up with some edema as you get a bit older. So like it's understandable that Scott's starting to suffer with this.
I'm just gonna do this.
That will definitely help. It will.
Yeah.
Also a little jog, probably get your lymphatic system going a little bit.
I mean, that sounds like work.
Yeah, but you need to do work. You're getting into the age, Scott, where if you don't do the work, things are going to go wrong.
I mean, he's not wrong.
It's good for your kidneys. Keeps them ticking over.
Dude,
it's good for you.
Kidney stones scare me. Those legitimately scare me. Like
I don't want kidney stones. I've
heard
that they're exquisitely painful.
No thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Jake, have you had some?
Yeah, do you not remember?
Yeah.
He was in hospital with them.
I've known a bunch of people that have had them. That's why I'm sorry. Oh, you went to the hospital for it?
They went in and destroyed them with a laser or something.
Yeah.
Yep.
They took the shortest route though.
Afterwards, they told him. They told him they were actually the sort of ones that they could have destroyed in a different means. Just to troll him.
It took them 2.5
things
months of
down.
leaving them with a fucking stent in there, and they could have gave me medication.
Well, universal healthcare. What do you expect? See, in America, you just don't go to the doctor and deal with the pain.
You just die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surely you just, enter Deadeye mode or something. Pull out your revolver and just bang, bang. Gone.
Oh, Deadeye mode.
I like it.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, oh God. I'm sorry. I'm still laughing from the random meme that was sent to me from Hunter the other day, where it was like, you heard of, what is it? Something into something. And it was like Glock in a crock. It's, I don't know. It's the picture. It just makes me laugh. But anyways.
Right. I've got a very avant-garde idea to share with you guys.
Oh no.
How about, given Tesh being the unreliable fuck he is,
Oh no.
and his
Where's this going?
current penchant for crashing, how about we get started with the show and we chat towards the end of the show?
Ooh.
Ooh. Ooh. Against the natural order? Maybe. Devilish? Who can say?
I don't know, Jake, are you capable? I mean, now that we brought up memories of there being literal rocks, sedentary granted, inside of your pee-pee, are you able to...
No, kidneys are not in your pee-pee.
No.
Stop.
No, they come out that way. They come out that way. That's where they're supposed to eject from.
This wasn't a good period of my life that you're referring to.
Listen, I'm aware, and I know it's probably going to happen to me at some point in time in the future because I eat horribly. So,
Moving right along.
so I have to laugh at you to make myself feel better. So.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Hey, Jake, guess what?
What?
Oh no.
Jesus.
Holy
Nick's
shit.
fucking hilarious.
Totally appropriate things just said right now. Everything said was absolutely appropriate. So
Scott had to mute because he wanted to ask Jake's advice on how to avoid getting kidney stones. Because he knows that it's Sod's Law now that he's like they're forming as soon as he started joking with Jake. They're like,
it's a godsmack.
you heard him, boys. Another one for kidney stone.
Oh Jesus. Oh yeah, no, bad. Okay, so actually, for those of you that watch Monday night, I muted myself because I was reiterating something Nick had said yesterday on the phone to Brittany and I was like, mute.
Oh, good. That wasn't live.
Oh no, I muted myself. They can still hear you though. They can still hear you. Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad. Yep. Okay.
All right. Hello, Wilhelm. Okay, cool. Oh Jesus.
Hey, Will, have you
That
decided?
is not true. It's categorically
not. No,
true.
it was not that.
Yeah. Because if you're saying that, you're talking about a very different Nick. Jake,
You have a
Whoa,
Republican.
hey.
You have
You
a
might wanna
Republican. You have a Republican politician called Nick.
a lot of them.
Do you?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very common name. I mean, Nick is a super common name.
Yeah, I there was a high school class
I mean, some of us live in big countries. So.
where there were 3 Nicks, all of which had a last name starting with D. So we couldn't even use our initials or anything like that. It was the worst.
Yeah, my buddy Nick, his last name starts with D.
Oh, did you?
Yep. Yep. All right, cool.
Fucking world.
Yep. And he wasn't even born in the United States. He was actually born in Germany, which explains a lot of his jokes, So You know, when you're born in Germany. You know, what is it? When
You
in
can't
Rome?
run for president then, right?
No. He was born on. He was. His parents are American citizens. He was father
Does
was.
that matter?
Yeah, his father was.
So you had to be born.
You have to be born an American citizen. You have to be born natural citizen. Can't be
okay.
naturalized. Yeah. His father was in the Air Force, and there was an accident on the airbase, so they had to move him off the airbase to a German hospital for him to be born. So it was one of those things where it was like a technicality. Like it was like, yeah, you're born in Germany, and I'm surprised they have such laws like that, because like in the United States, like you're like near our soil. You like were born in one piece of American sand. Ours. Done. Ours. You know, but the idea that Germany was also like, yeah, you're born here, you can stay. It's like, that actually surprised me a little bit. Because, you know, as much as people like to complain about immigration, America won't survive without immigration. We don't have enough of a population happening on our own. Too many condoms. Not enough people. So,
That explains your sex ed system.
yeah. No, but that's not where STDs come from. That's from the nursery homes. But we don't want to get into that conversation. Let's
nursery homes? Like nursing homes or nursery?
Oh, sorry, nursing homes. Nursing homes. It's still 7:19 a.m. over here.
Holy shit!
You knew what I meant, Jake. You were with me.
You're on your own on this one, buddy.
Christ.
Yeah, no, I'm just
That intellect devourer all over again.
Oh, can we get to the game now?
Yeah, I think so.
please.
All right. If it makes you guys feel any better, I'm only drinking microwave coffee from yesterday morning and only this much in it. So hopefully Brittany wakes up and makes me coffee soon, because I'm tired in the morning. All right, let's get started.
Sorry, I just saw Neil's oops in chat.
I don't even know what he said. Let's see. Oh, yes, I see it now. Don't worry, I commented on it earlier. It shows that he aged. Actually, the beard made him look younger than shaving it does. It's funny. It's the opposite for most people. Yeah.
It's because I've, like, even though I shaved it off, I still got a full-blown case of, there's a beard there.
No. It's because your face filled in. You went from that like young face to being like an adult's face. Like you look like a man, if you will. I'm not trying to be weird. I swear I'm not.
Doesn't sound like you're trying to be weird, to be honest.
I swear I'm not. Can we just get to the game?
You're saying you've been streaming with me all this time and I've not looked like a man.
I called you nubile probably about 600 times.
Now I'm not gonna say anything directly, but let's just take that quote, just relate it back to nursery homes, and then we'll just take another jump even further.
I hate you. Can we just like get into the game now? Can we just like start the session?
Well, you really are getting old. You sound just like Norway.
Wow. By the way, chat, don't let me forget that that's there, okay?
Gotta pull down your green screen. Let's go.
I'm literally doing that as we speak.
That was fantastic.
Yeah, glorious.
Technical difficulty.
I wonder how that looked on stream. Oh, I don't think they saw it. For chat saying it got caught on something.
Fun fact, Anno, weird is a weird word that doesn't have I before E because it's weird.
Fucking English.
Thank you for welcoming us back to first grade.
Hey, look at my phone.
Nice.
All right. We good?
No, you don't sound particularly old, no way. But you may well be quite literally twice my age. I know you're in your 50s.
The fun thing about listening to Norway is now when I listen to a bunch of documentaries about like advancement in technology and like making of renewable green energy or like, you know, things like that. Many of the people on those projects are Norwegian, and so you just Norwegian specifically, and so you consistently just hear Norway from like all the Wednesday after show calls. I just hear that accent so often now. It just tickles me. Like I'm always like, I know where you're from. You too. Her as well. Though notably, I don't think there's any females from Norway there. You should work on that, Green. Yeah. Got to get some more ladies into the stems.
Wow.
So, yeah. But anyways, let's get going without Jake. All right. So, who wants to recap last week? Should we have Jake do it? He seems like he's actually feeling rather spry after his bout of gout.
Yeah, I think it's arthritis now. So, yeah.
Okay. You want to recap what happened last week?
Boy turns 30, gets diagnosed with arthritis.
Yeah.
That's vicious.
Yeah. So last week.
It was the opening. It was session 1.
Introductions.
Camera issues.
Correct. We all got together at the meeting, had a fun little meeting, and had a job brief that we have to go to the gate and deliver and guard some supplies. We then all kind of got to know each other.
Tunnel as well, I believe, wasn't it?
I'm not sure. I can't remember.
They needed access to a tunnel, a subterranean cavern.
So
we're either bringing supplies for them to dig, or we're also
we've
guarding
brought supplies up. They will be digging, but we will not be involved in the digging. However,
right.
we will be ensuring that the supplies are moved safely from the barge into the facility. It wasn't explicitly stated where in the facility that they will go.
And it was up to our discretion if we help in the cave or not. But it is not part of our obligation.
Yeah. And then we all went to a tavern and had a drink.
Had some awkwards, and then had some drinks.
He did. That was actually nice. And then I think, Tesh, you specifically did not want to drink too much because you were going to meet with the boss lady afterwards. Sorry. And we were talking about in chat last week, like what would be a good gender neutral, and without designing a specific one because nobody had been able to come up with a decent name quite just yet. It was sticking with literally just saying Reg. It would work. And if I remember correctly, she was a
Elsie.
Yeah, the woman that you were reporting to was a lieutenant commander, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Elsie.
Because that's below field commander.
No, that's BC then, battle commander. There's also below field
commander. No, she was definitely below.
What did I put as a BC? It was BC.
BC. Okay. Battle commander.
I think so.
Yeah. Let me open my inclement notes, shall I?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah, I'll open mine up as well.
BC Sulfura Seapearl.
All right, cool. Yeah, no redemptions yet, guys. It's just there because flicking it off and back on takes like a minute. And
yes, so be warned. You try and redeem anything, your daddies are going down the drain.
By that, Neil means All right, so
moving on.
No, Joe. No good ideas were offered. How about that one? So anyways, so you making your way downtown, walking fast, faces past, BC bound. Tesh. So you go and you meet with her again to kind of go over some details and to give her a bit of a display of what it is that you do. Now, we don't necessarily have to get into the hard nitty gritty. I'm just curious what it is that you intend to show her.
The suit, the crystalline bolts, the fact that I can create them, and the basically the augmenting of the spiked carapace, like to show that I can change it, basically. that it's modular. And I would also ask her for advice about using it on this mission.
She would when it comes to the suit thing, she would ask questions like, where does this come from? How is this created?
So I'll answer that in character then. I'm not entirely sure about where it comes from, but early on in my training, it was obvious I had an affinity for the crystals, and he'll if he's in, I'll say he's out of the suit at the moment. He'll hold up the braces and point to the deep crystal, and somehow imagining that helps me create the suit, almost like becoming the crystal.
I don't understand. Is it magic? I hear you incants no words.
It's all mental. I imagine the suit and it comes to be. I imagine the crystal blades and they come to be.
I'm still I still don't understand how this would work. I would ask you a report with an explanation, but I've been informed that I am not allowed to. She says, and you can see there's a degree of dissatisfaction with the fact that she is significantly higher rank. And she's telling you, like...
You can't tell me information, basically.
Yeah. It's like you can feel that pressure. Well, actually, sense motive on that one.
Ooh.
Sorry, I just like blooped that right in front of you. You rolled a 19 total.
Yep.
I just realized I hadn't clicked that yet. So, you can realize that it was a 19 total for chat. You can realize that she's more or less applying a degree of pressure. Like, I was told that I'm not allowed to inquire.
Yeah,
I can't ask you, but
you can tell me.
You can offer. But at the same time, you also know that you're supposed to can't keep beyond what is necessary. You're supposed to keep most of this kind of close to the chest.
Yeah, I'll just reiterate. It's the best way I can describe it is my mind. I imagine it and it happens. I don't know enough about how normal magic works. I've never studied it. I was around it, but there's a sort of pause. I didn't pay too much attention to the how. But I focus and it works.
She kind of like listens to all that. She says, you had asked earlier what it is that you're allowed to share with those that are beyond. To this, I have to say, follow your previous directives. You know what you should and should not allow others to see, when you should allow them to see, whatever it might be. You can make that decision as needed. I believe you're allowed to utilize your abilities so long as people don't watch you activate them directly, correct?
Indeed.
So perhaps, I don't know the limitations of how long you can keep these things going, but perhaps entering into the scenario with it already upon you would be a little easier for them to digest or become accustomed to than you needing to activate them when a battle has already started.
Indeed, I can keep them up indefinitely, so I believe that is a good choice.
Very well. You follow your own trainings and whatnot from this point. Is there anything else you need of me? Is there any focusing or details required to make this ability function?
No, but thank you. And he'll salute.
She nods and says, "This is under Jin Malis, was it not?"
Would I be allowed to say?
I mean, she asked that
Yes.
pretty directly, so it's pretty, yeah.
Oh, so
She
indeed.
says, "You don't need anything extra, maybe buckets full of gold or the blood of innocent children to maintain your abilities?"
He would he would be like, when you want to laugh or giggle, and you just like, no, this is inappropriate. He'll suppress it and just
Like a snort.
no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A suppressive snort.
No, that is not necessary.
She'll kind of like hold like a hard stare, like one of those knowing that you were trying to laugh or whatever it is. Like just holds a hard stare to see if she can get you. I mean, again, using 19 cents motive, you could see she's intentionally trying to get you to crack. Why don't you go ahead and roll a bluff check? Because that's how you suppress emotion.
Okay. That's so perfect.
It's like a hard snort. You know what I mean? Like you are so red in the face right now as she's just staring at you. And she's like, finally, she says, well, meet you in the morning.
Indeed.
And so you'll
do the salute and leave.
Mm-hmm. So you go and to leave and whatnot. So when you go to the mornings, I don't think there's anything else your characters had to do this evening.
Nope.
So
I'm just.
I wanted to research the those things that are supposed to be over there.
Things that's supposed to be
I
over
remember
there.
what
Oh,
they're called.
gotcha. That's actually, so the type of research that would be required for that would be a nature check.
Yeah. And I have time, so I get a +2.
Oh, that's fine.
I'm just seeing
35.
if there's any modifications I want to make to my suit overnight.
Did you guys do crits or no?
No.
You guys, yeah, I was pretty sure you guys, what's the word I'm looking for? Bitches, that's right. Bitches. I remember now. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I couldn't remember, sorry. So, with your research, you can actually learn the ins and outs about sturges. Like one of the things about sturges is that they're incredibly dangerous. I mean, even though one can be dangerous, you can recover from a sturge bite, in like a day, a few days at most. You can recover from a sturge bite. They affect people pretty immensely, but really for them to even be that dangerous, they require them to like latch onto you. So if you can kind of like get them off very quickly, they're not even that bad necessarily. However, 3 or 4 sturges, depending on the individual or the sturge, that could be fatal. 3 or 4 sturges could be. If you're being bitten by 7 or 8 sturges, fatality is almost guaranteed. So it's one of those things where sturges are genuinely a concern. Sturges have there has been developed a repellent that is actually extremely good at keeping sturges at bay. It actually has 100% effectiveness that sturges won't come near the group. However, I should say it's like 95% effectiveness realistically. However, it is lets out a scent that is very attractive to trolls, to specifically scrags. It kind of pulls them in, and that leads you to your research about scrags. Scrags are actually what's the word I'm looking for? A type of troll. Trolls can rejuvenate very quickly to the point where if you sever the head of a troll, it will grow a new body or head, or in some cases, both. Meaning you could sometimes duplicate a troll by severing a large enough or important enough piece from that troll. It can just grow itself again. And while trolls in general are very rejuvenative, scrags are actually amongst the most rejuvenative. It's just they require being submersed into water for it to function. So a scrag outside of water while still large and frightening, still talons and so on and so forth, actually isn't quite as scary because they don't heal. But scrags in water can recover from more grievous wounds than a typical troll can, making them more frightening. They're slightly smaller and slightly less durable than their older cousins, than their larger cousins, their land-based ones. But again, extremely rejuvenative, which is the frightening part. Typical fires and acids and whatnot will suppress that particular wound from being healed. It takes a little bit longer for that to be healed, but don't get me wrong, within a day they are fully up and running again. That's at most, it takes a day for them to heal from wounds, and again, that's kind of pushing the limit there of your luck. That being said, so fire and acid kind of keeps that at bay. This type of what's it called, incense that has been developed by them helps to keep it at bay. The incense is actually designed off of a type of wax that is made by. Do you know what a spider eater is?
No.
So giant bees that exist inside the swamp as well. So there's these ginormous bees that exist inside the swamp. They're called spider eaters. They don't really eat spiders. Actually, one of the things that they like to do is they actually like to find large-sized hosts. So, humanoids make for great hosts, and they inject their eggs into them to parasitically hatch outside of them. Yeah.
So more like wasps, basically.
More like wasps. Yep, but they're called spider eaters. Anyways, they happen to live inside the swamps that are around the gate as well. They are not pleasant creatures. Anyways, the wax that they create and utilize to make their not hives, but their nests or whatever that they have, that's actually what is used to burn the incense to keep the sturges at bay, but attracts the scrag over. Now, because you rolled a 35, so you broke the 30 threshold, you actually have found out that there has been recent research into countering the negative effect of attracting scrags, which is scary as fluff, while still having the effectiveness of keeping the surges at bay. And funny enough, it has something to do with a different aroma. As if there's actually a strong enough, a pungent enough, almost like potpourri of honeysuckle, it actually helps to keep. It actually helps to neutralize the attractive scent of the scrags. For some reason, that smell kind of keeps the scrags themselves. It's not like it's aversive to them, to the sense that it won't keep them at bay the same way as the other one will keep sturges at bay, but it will cause them to be slightly less interested. It's like a mild aversive. So
I love Anno's reaction. Goddamn honeysuckle!
Well, there's a history of honeysuckle that exists inside the world, but it acts as a mild aversive to them, so it actually helps to function. The issue is potpourri doesn't tend to have a large field of aroma. It's just one of those things where you can't really generate. There's no known way to generate a large like field of aroma without maybe huge scones of potpourri or something like that about. But then if you know anything about the creation of potpourri, it takes large amounts of the petals and the nectar and whatnot to even make it so it functions. Then you bring into quite an aromatic place, and so it's good luck getting your hands on it. That being said, at the end of your research and everything, you come to the realization maybe you should ask for some of this wax that's for burning, so more or less this candle. It's more like a giant torch because of how kind of compact and whatnot it is, and the kind of the built-in fuel for it. But either way, you should probably ask for some of that for the sturge situation. But maybe you could also swing by a florist and see if they have some of this honeysuckle that you can get your hands on as well. Looking at the map of the direction you'll be traveling, because you happen to be where we had discussed beforehand, over in, sorry, I see the city's name, McGlynn. Because you happen to be in McGlynn, we were heading up from there. You are very far from where honeysuckle is as well known to grow from, which is a deer. But that doesn't mean it doesn't grow in other reaches of Paranhea as well, or that it's not been, exported over and blah, 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 blah. So that's what you're able to kind of gather from there. Sturges, they are wise enough to attach areas of your body that are hard to get them off of. So, your backside and stuff like that. If you kill them as quick as they attach themselves, you should be safe. Multiple Sturges is dangerous. Close into 10 Sturges is borderline guaranteed to be deadly. Scrags, keep them out of the water. Fire and acid. Burning of the spider eaters, wax, and honeysuckle. Any other details you wish to ask? Last thing. There are, what are they called? Because you, of course, are researching specifically about the fauna and flora of that swamp. There's a type of fungus that's there that is used by, what are they called? That was used long ago. It's known historically to be used medicinally. It's actually, unfortunately, kind of poisonous. It's one of those things where you can't eat it too much of it too often because it'll literally cause you to die. You guys don't have the type of modern medicine to identify, but more or less it causes like a system shock that shuts down your liver, which would quickly lead to your death. But it is known to cause powerful dreamlike states when you eat it. So there's actually a mushroom there that you can consume that's believed to cause powerful dreamlike states. Some believe that it actually causes you to have contact with higher minds or beings, allowing you to kind of like get outside perspective viewpoints, really helping you to cross-analyze things that you've been contemplating for a long period of time or whatever it might be. It's something that's interesting to your character because you're always about, pushing the higher limits of one's mind and, alchemy in general. So it's something that's interesting to you. The problem with it is this particular mushroom, which is known the way it looks, is it has like a grayish off-white stalk to it, almost like pearl in color stalk to it. It is iconically almost like a slight orange hue, but a deep red color with circles that are, again, almost like a mother of pearl kind of color to them. There's a very, very, very similar looking mushroom that happens to grow there, which does not have that effect and is significantly more poisonous. Significantly more poisonous. The issue with it is that other one, you have to get close to measure the size of the, what's it called? The size of the little circles on them. The circles on the more poisonous one are smaller in diameter than the circles on the safer to eat one. But what's poisonous in them isn't the ingestion of the actual mushroom. It's the inhalation of the spores. So you have to get close to them to appropriately measure them, but in getting close, you might trigger spores, which could then cause you to inhale the poison. So it's an inhalation poison, whereas the other one's an ingestion. Any questions? I hope
a lot of information. So
I hope you kept notes.
I know the important parts. All right.
Who in chat is your note keeper? True Blue.
Joey's really good with this stuff.
Wow.
Joey.
Wow.
Joey. I need that memory of yours.
Joey's fresh out of college, so he's just really, really, really good at absorbing information. Is what it is. He just has that college brain going. Yes.
Are you going to inform us of the weaknesses of the troll-like things?
I mentioned.
I forget their name.
Yeah.
No, is he going to inform us?
Oh, that's a you problem. We'll deal with that in the morning when you guys come back together.
Well, yeah. No, it only takes me an hour-ish, I think. I can change my psionic focus to be that element.
Oh, that's cool. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even though I'm not a true manifesting class, my psionic focus still takes on an element.
That's cool.
Either cold, electricity, fire, or sonic.
I'm curious. Want to ping me, DM me the link to that? I want to read it.
Yes. It's
Whoa.
the Aegis.
Brad's here. Sorry.
It's under Empowered Blast. It's the The description of how it works for the whole thing is under empowered. I nearly sent it to the wrong chat.
Uh-oh. Everybody knows.
No. Okay.
I got the button in time.
Under 1 point customization, the second one down.
I'll look while we're waiting for Neil to rejoin us. And you said it's what is it?
Under 1 point customization, second energy down. It's a note that obviously links to somewhere else, but this is where I found it. It's the active energy type thing. That's like not a part of empowered energy blast. It's just advising energy blast.
Oh, the blast.
No, it's not just the blast. It actually says, although Aegis is not a true manifesting class, they still gain an active energy type, just like other psionic characters when gain psionic focus.
Let me. So do you take Empower Blast, to be clear?
I can't get that till next level. The active energy type, the psionic focus and active energy type, I believe are separate things.
No, because you have to have the ability. So if you don't have the ability to blast, then you don't have an energy blast.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I assumed the energy type thing was different.
No, they're just saying for when you can get the blast, this is a way to alter the
okay.
blast. Because it's literally called Empowered Blast. So how do you get the blast?
It's a...
Oh, it says two-level augmentation.
Level, yeah.
Yep, 2-level augmentation, energy blast. The ranged attack gained from ranged attack, becomes imbued with energy.
Blast to level 4.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking about energy blast is specifically an ability. The attack is now treated as a ranged touch attack that instead deals 1d6 points of damage of your active energy type, but requires a standard action to use and cannot be used as part of a full attack action. This effect can be turned off or on as a move action. Now let me go back to the actual class to see if I'm missing something there. Oh, sorry. And then we'll go into
I'm checking psionic powers in general because I thought it was referencing something else.
Exactly.
Sorry about that. I had a phone call.
No, you're good, man. You literally missed nothing important. Aside from going to a florist. Which we didn't do yet. Yeah, there's nothing in here that suggests that you have an active energy blast as of now. You have to gain one.
Where I grew up.
Yeah, no, I found where it mentions it now. It's energy powers in general have a energy type. It's just normally it's only manifestors that can do it. So that's why it's saying even though you're not a manifestor, you can still choose an energy type.
When you have the blast, correct.
For an energy attack.
Correct. Yep, perfect. Yes, Neil?
So where I grew up, we had a huge honeysuckle bush. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like a climber. It's so every time you mention honeysuckle, I have this huge like nostalgia wave involved with the smell of it because I mean, honeysuckle blooms for quite a large portion of summer, and also smells very strongly of just beautiful sweetness. But every time you mention it, I'm just like.
The year, again, going back about a decade, that I created, it was, I think 9 years ago or 10 years ago, that I created Abstergo 13 as a character that I played. I remember specifically going to a nursery, like a plants nursery, and it was like the best smell that was there. And so when you look at psionic powers and abilities, it's not like Vita Mortis Carale. It's sounds, smells, visual effects. It just kind of like manifest, and it manifests. It can manifest differently for each person. Like for instance, it might be it might have like the aromatic thing that specifically says reminds you of your like a fond memory of your parents, or it might be a very specific one, honeysuckle. And so I always put kinetic energy as honeysuckle back then when I created that character as like a PC character, and it's just kind of transformed since. Like I said, when we bought this house and moved here, Brittany planted honeysuckle next to the house as like an homage.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
I like it because it's a great thing that you can drop as a bombshell with just a tiny detail. Mm-hmm. You just smell honeysuckle.
Yeah. Once you know the world, it has significance. Yeah. But anyway, sorry. Back to the game. We were talking about energy. So no, Tesh, you do not have energy attacks.
Yeah, no, that's I understand how it works now. Yeah, it's only for energy attacks anyway, and there I don't have any energy attacks as is.
Cool. All right, let's. So I don't think there was anything else that you needed to look into there, Jake.
Nah.
Cool. So morning. You all get up in the morning. I imagine you head over, rather early for each of you. You can kind of give them a degree of a heads up early on. But Jake, yourself, would your character want to try to wake up extremely early to head over to a florist shop?
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
I'm going to be trying to collect all those things.
The likelihood of because how early you have to get there, mind you, florists themselves are up pre-dawn. You know what I mean? So how early you're gonna have to get over there to meet in time at the docks to have to meet with your battle commander? You're definitely gonna have to. It's gonna be fortune as to whether or not there's gonna be a florist available for you to deal with. Why don't you go ahead and choose somebody in chat to roll a D100 for the likelihood of there even being a florist in shop? Who do you want to choose?
Alrighty. Let's go with Anno.
Anno, D100.
We don't see Anno very much anymore.
High or low, Jake?
You should roll me.
High is good. Okay. That's low. So it's not critically low though. So what it is like when you get there, you can kind of see that the when you get to the florist shop, it's literally one of those things where as you're walking up, you can see the person is clearly walking in. Go ahead and roll me a sense motive, Jake.
Throw gold at the window. Gold coins.
You can see that person. They definitely have that look where Paradell's a terrible nation, so they like tea.
Whoa.
Sorry?
First strike.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
First strike.
It's an empire. So
no friends.
They seem like a coffee nation. I agree. Actually, I do see them. They're very productive.
It's Lady Arabelle, lawful evil.
America is not lawful. So I mean, it's all about freedom.
Lawful? I think you mispronounced rifle.
Oh. Hi, Dad. How are you? So anyways, you go walking up to the. You can clearly tell that she has not had her morning beverage, whether it be tea, coffee, whatever it might be. She has definitely not had her morning beverage, and she goes walking in as it's one of those things where you kind of call out, excuse me, madam, and she definitely either didn't hear you or straight up ignored you. Went into the shop and the door snapped shut as she's kind of starting her day. So as you go walking up and kind of tapping on the window to try to get her attention to see if she can assist you, you're gonna have to throw on that charm.
Don't know how much time I have, but he'll knock on the door until he gets a response.
Why don't you go ahead and so we can kind of flash through it. Go ahead and roll me a diplomacy check as you are get the charm on. Are you happy with your 22?
Yeah, I'm happy with it.
I mean, come on, she's a florist.
We don't have luck or anything.
I know. It's just funny to say.
I was in another game and I nearly said, "Can I luck dice that?" Just because of this bloody game.
Excuse me. Tea is made out of leaves, whereas coffee is made out of fruit. All right. To be clear, tea is made out of leaves. Coffee is made out of fruit. There's a superior option here.
Is it made out of fruit though?
It is. Yes.
Are beans fruit?
I mean, you take a berry, you peel back the fruit, and you take the seed outside of the fruit.
Yeah, therefore it's no longer a fruit.
I mean, it's still the fruit that you want of the plant, not the leaf.
You don't. Someone isn't like, would you like some fruit? And they just hold out a peach stone for you. Come on, dude.
I mean, you take the fruit off the plant, not the leaf off the plant. You then have to process it.
Then you take the.
You then take the process it.
No. Because if you're saying that it's made out of a fruit, then no way is correct.
The fruit of the plant.
Because the fruit is taken from the plant, so it's made from tea. Because at what point do you draw the line? Like, where are you saying, like, what derivatives? Like, where do you draw the line? There's no logic to it. You're just saying it's a fruit, but actually it's the bean. So if you're just picking that...
You harvest the fruit from the plant, and then you begin processing.
Then you harvest the bean.
Yeah, but if you're doing it on a small scale, you could just peel open that fruit and take out the bean.
Sure. Or you harvest the leaf from the plant and start processing. Those are two very different things.
No, but you harvest something and start processing from a plant.
We'll come back to this later. I'll let Scott stew on it.
These are the important.
You don't harvest the bean from the plant. You harvest the fruit from the plant and then begin processing, which usually involves roasting it while it's still inside the fruit before you start shucking it. So, but well, not roasting, drying. Either way. So,
Noe says, "Make tea, not war." Effectively.
There you go. Make coffee, not love. Wait. So, anyways.
Is this advice to Jake right now?
That's a head scratcher that Anna's just put there.
Wait, what?
I don't know what Anno's into.
No, there's a type of coffee.
There is, yeah.
Specifically digested in a small way, which makes it, adds flavor.
I mean, usually you want to allow like insects and whatnot, and like bacteria to break down the stuff around rather than monkey poop.
Well, no,
but
yeah, that's all bacteria in the gut. You realize?
Sure. Yeah.
Well, is this Flores that's gonna
yeah. Anyway, so
is she just getting like a nice cup of monkey poo coffee?
Yeah. Hey, Dad, can you do me a favor? Next time I come visit, can you make me a cup of monkey poo coffee? I'd appreciate that. The worst part about that is I actually legitimately like thick coffee, like roasted with lots of beans. So it's like Brittany was drinking coffee I made the other day, and she's like, "Why does this seem so thick?" And I was like, "Well, baby, I like it viscous."
Oh, that is.
And she just kind of gave me like I'll get some from Starbucks, thanks. Yeah. Anyways, let's keep going. So
sorry, I just.
oh, British stereotypes that make me happy. So anyways, because American stereotypes depress me. So you go and rap on the window, and she just kind of like looks up at you, like agitated, and you're like, "Excuse me," and she just kind of like goes about her day and kind of like calls through. You can barely hear her through the window. We open after dawn, and then continues kind of going about her day. Like, no, excuse me, it's a matter of importance. And then like
drop the military. Say you're an officer.
No, he's way more charming than that. He's like, "It's flowers for me mum." It's along those lines. Hi, Brett. So you kind of like, turn on the charm, and she eventually comes over, and she, just gonna get her to come over and open the door. And then you kind of like the talking back and forth and whatnot, and you're like, more or less, I'm looking to buy some honeysuckle. If you have any on hand, or if you have potpourri, whatever it might be. I don't know what it is that you're looking for specifically, Jake.
I need honeysuckle, right? Was it supposed to be prepared like that?
Oh, potpourri will carry the scent longer.
Oh, well, I mean, I'd ask for that if she has any of that. And if she doesn't, just the honeysuckle itself.
Sure. She'd actually inform me that she has both in the store. Now here's the question. Your character...
you never heard of potpourri?
Huh?
He's never heard of potpourri.
You've never heard of potpourri?
I'm only 25, guys.
Your mom has potpourri. Like, she definitely has potpourri. Like,
how do I spell it?
It's like the most British thing.
How do I spell it?
That's what surprised me.
Brittany, how do you spell potpourri?
Yeah, I have no idea how to spell it. I know what it is though.
P-O-T-U-R what?
P-O-T-U-R.
What?
Potpurri. So potpurri.
Potpourri is a mixture of dried, naturally fragrant plant materials. I've seen it before, but I didn't know that this was the term for it.
Yeah, the fusion reaction thing was way more exciting. All right. Yeah, you got it? All right, cool. Awesome. It's way too much to figure out so he can know what potpourri is. This whole time I'm talking about it, he's like, yes, that thing.
Look, I learn, you learn, we're all fed by knowledge.
Yeah. Again,
I stole that.
I want you to text your mom. Mom, do you have potpourri around the house?
No, we don't.
She almost definitely has it in the living room.
No, we don't.
She almost definitely does.
If you said my grandmother, definitely.
That's a fair point. Your mom is probably like 50-ish, isn't she?
She's in her 50s, yeah.
Oh, okay. How many? Do you have any older siblings?
One.
How much older?
28.
Oh, so 3 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. My mom doesn't have potpourri, so yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
And your mom's
this
definitely
florist
older than
stop is
My
taking
mom's
an
also
awfully
American.
long time.
What?
I said this florist stop is taking an awfully long time.
I'm so sorry. He's flirting with her, trying to get her number for when he comes back. You know, he's gonna continue that Medahina line. Oh, too soon. Too soon. Okay.
It is too soon.
Either way, Brittany buys potpourri occasionally. It lasts for a long time. It really does. But either way, so she's made some with Rory before because Rory likes the little sniffing bag. But anyways, you as the girls define it here in the house, there's only so many sniffs, so you have to enjoy them. So, you turn on the charm. You know, whatever it is you got to do to allow her to. And she tells you that she will sell them to you gladly. There's honestly not a lot of potpourri. One of the things that you notice is that the potpourri actually, it's enough, like it's a small little bag of it, and it's sealed up in like a sack and a sack and a sack to reduce the amount of air that it gets exposed to, so it has a bit more of an aroma. And because obviously there's 3 of you that you're concerned about, you could, of course, ask her for other little small sacks to kind of like break it down into, so you can kind of have your own individualized amount, so you can kind of like share it between you. And what was the last thing I was saying? So sorry. She does have a lot of the honeysuckle. She actually happens to grow a bunch out back, and I believe I defined this before as being springtime, right? So honeysuckle actually blooms in the spring, so she can definitely get some for you, but it's one of those things where it's like I have a lot of it, but like I can't give it all to you because I need it for, you know, selling. How much is your character looking to offer above market value, Tesh, to like Jake, to get what you really to get as much as possible?
They're both Australian. It's close.
I actually quickly have to take this. Sorry.
Oh,
Need
so
1
funny.
second.
We're all taking turns being like distracted.
I thought I was about to make an achievement joke. It sounded like the achievement pop-up. I need to tell you, I can't tell you what was happening, but there was a recording happening today where I made a joke about wanting to keep one of the enemies as a pet, and immediately within like half a second a pop-up appeared that said a new pet as an achievement. I'm like, I could not have planned that more perfectly.
That's pretty funny.
All right. How much do I want to offer over?
There
Slightly.
was the quickest phone call ever. It's almost as like, this is important. I need to take this. Fuck off, eh?
Yeah,
hangs
he
up.
picked up and went. He picked up and went.
All right.
Yeah,
I had
nah,
a private
God,
number.
fuck.
I had a private number ringing me at like 10 o'clock. All right. And both my kids aren't here, so I was like,
Yeah.
Oh,
of
fair
course.
enough.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was just very Australian.
Yeah, no, I agree. He picked up and went, yeah, nah, can't, bye.
Someone has given my number to telemarketers, so that is how a lot of my phone calls go these days.
It was me, Tesh.
Fuck.
He made like $10 Australian off of that. It's like that's like half a quid.
That's like a coffee.
Oh, fuck off.
Oh.
No, we're not as valuable as we once were.
Oh, I mean, I've known that for like a century, but yeah, that's cool.
Excuse me?
Yeah.
Have you been to our museum?
He's just talking about how
Oh, yeah, let's move on from that.
So, how much above market value are you willing to spend to buy these? They're flowers, mind you. It's not like it's crazy expensive.
Yeah, I mean, slightly. I'm not gonna be like, oh, just throwing gold at her or something.
So
tell them how much it would usually cost. And he can say how
so you succeeded a diplomacy check to get her to open and kind of like do the deal with you. Roll one more to try to talk down the price, and then we can kind of push on. That's what I'll goofing off here. Oh, beautiful.
Damn.
So for you can walk out of there with all of the potpourri and everything that you need inside of it. She'll even go so far as like other little mixes. Grab you like mix bags of potpourri that happens to have what's the word I'm looking for? Honeysuckle inside of it. Because you usually don't have 1 cent. You know what I mean? So like her bag of the 1 cent is like her supply prior to mixing it with other flowers to make like a floral smell for somebody's home, right? And then you would also, she would also go and grab you as much of the flower as possible and kind of explain to you the process of kind of drying it, which since you're going to be on a barge, you can easily do. Because you're going to have exposure to a lot of sunshine. Hi, Roars. And then you can do all that. My apologies, 10 gold. She'll give you absolutely everything that you have, which is like a grand supply. You can talk her down if you want to try to be a little stingy. You could get it done for 7 gold. Hi, Rory, what's up? What's up?
I'm just gonna pay the 10 gold.
Fair play, mate. You know, Norway is thanking you for that right now. It's like, we can make it to the gate. To be fair, we're an hour in, and usually we'd have been talking for 45 minutes right now, and we have made some progress.
We've done 2 scenes.
Yeah.
Where's my money? I posted something in the Inclement casting room, which you may have already seen, but if you haven't, you should watch it after this because it's funny and relates to my museum.
That's okay.
Joke.
Let's go. I'll fix it.
Oh, I see it.
I love
just
that.
really needs to build
Sketch.
a door sometime this year. Yeah. All right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm just gonna pay the 10.
All right, cool. Since you paid the 10, we will allow who is the most annoyed by how long this, because of distractions and everything this has taken. Who in chat is the most annoyed? You can define that by rolling a D1000. The person with the highest roll can name the florist.
Do I get her number or at least address to write to? Because that's how we do correspondence.
Mm-hmm.
The bog is dreadfully smelly.
Oh, Steve.
However,
Steve
the
likes the chaos.
pottery that you provided me doth lent me great strength in mine loins at this time.
Oh my god. That went somewhere I was not expecting. Well,
I think that you did this on purpose.
just beating him.
Oh, Jesus. All right. No more planting of seeds jokes. No more of that.
God.
Oh.
Okay, awesome. Beautiful. So let's continue on. You were able to kind of more or less when you show up in the morning to the group of them, you're showing up over there and it's kind of like, Christ almighty, that is a pungent smell. Because as you go pulling up, because even though you have the bag and a bag and a bag, and a box and a box and a bag and a bag, even though you have that together to try to keep the oxidization as low as possible, it's still potent. It's like, when somebody walks past you in like a store and you're like, whoo, you really like perfume, don't you? It's like an offensive amount of perfume. It's like one of those
The idea
scenarios.
is you use like a little bit of it, not the entire giant bag. So we're just going to have the entire giant bag.
We're not done yet. We still need to get some wax or something, some beeswax.
I thought they were providing.
You were gonna ask the battle commander about that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We've got 2 out of the 3.
Correct. Yep. So when you meet with them in the morning, I imagine your character, again, kind of getting up super early, gathering this stuff. So the two of them are going to get to the battle commander first, because obviously you had to go here, you had to put on the charm, and so on and so forth, and finally have her gather the stuff, and you're kind of like, let me help her. And you kind of, getting it all together. And then to the two of you, you guys arrive. Whoever's first, I honestly don't care. But she does note how your commanding officer is running late. And she's dissatisfied with this at the moment. But eventually he does show up. But it's not like he just shows up. He actually literally has a burlap sack over his shoulder as he's walking up, because all of these things are going to be inside of the sack, including like even having like a couple of puncture holes in the sack with a bunch of stems and flowers kind of sticking out the back side or whatever. So as he's walking up with literally a burlap sack, that is, you see him, then you smell him, then you greet him. I mean, it's quite pungent. So you come walking up, and she looks at you quizzically and says, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. I'm sorry for my lateness. I had to procure some items to deal with the scrags and the sturges.
Very well. I'm not familiar with what is it you have in there?
While he kind of puts that down, he just starts like pulling like notes out, and he's just like, well, this is for this and this.
She holds up her hand as you literally start opening up a book. She just holds up her hand and says, I'm sure it's of importance. Shall we go over what's inside the barge?
Of course, ma'am. Just if I may, before I forget, there's one last thing I was wondering if you could help procure before we leave, as it will make our journey a lot safer. And he'll tell us about the beeswax thing.
Absolutely. So I'm going to jump into that. The last thing Norway said should be a challenge accepted. It's the last thing Joey and Norway said. Challenge accepted. It's going to be like a thing now. So anyways, you asking about the beeswax thing. So obviously she knows what this is. As a matter of fact, I think she even mentioned it to you beforehand in the meeting. So she'll actually inform you. She says, anybody who has a task of going up to the gate is always given a single, imagine a candle of this. It doesn't last for very long, a few hours, but if this is something that you think that you will actually utilize rather than having the option for, I can have more brought.
Yes, please, Matt.
It's a matter of whether or not that we have a supply of them about and they're readily available. I'll have it looked into immediately. And she'll kind of like, turn to, one of her little underlings to go and check the supplies for such things. Yes, Tash?
He'll say, out of curiosity, do the candles repel the sturges if they've already started an attack?
She says the effectiveness is varying. It's supposed to make it so they don't even notice that you're there, as far as I understand. So if they've already started to attack, it may lessen the significance of the attack, allowing you to deal with those that are immediately about you and keep more from joining them at bay. As to the likelihood of there being more of this kind of candle about, why don't we have Ash go ahead and roll me a D100 real quick. And back to the bit. She says we have supplies here for construction. As I said beforehand, there's a few food items that happen to be there as well. Each of the crates is marked accordingly for the construction goods. They're inside the larger crates. For the more personalized items that have been requested to be delivered, those are in the smaller crates that are there. These are the supplies that need to be brought forward. The personalized items are of lesser importance. While these people request these things, that doesn't necessarily mean that, wow, there are no more candles, only the one. While the likelihood, while they are important to those individuals, they're not important to your overall task. Construction goods need to be brought. You need to oversee that they are successful in their tunneling, and then you need to return home. Any other questions? Any other details?
You mentioned the field commander may ask us to do other things. It is my understanding that we are to assist him only if it does not impede our objective.
I leave it to your discretion. You know what your responsibilities are, as I just said them moments ago. Beyond that, it's your discretion.
Yes, ma'am.
Beyond that, she says, any last questions or anything else?
Not from me.
She nods and she gestures towards the person that kind of comes back, shaking his head that there's no candles. She says, "This here is Timmy. Timothy will be joining you as your correspondent. His responsibility is as you approach the gate, and after you have your initial meeting with the field commander that's out there, you will then give a full report, and then he will begin the immediate trek south. They will, of course, be sending their own barge back this way, as there is often back and forth, so I can have an update prior to your arrival. I will get the full disclosure of all that transpires when you return."
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. She says, then be well. Enjoy your voyage.
I'll salute and then get on the barge.
I'll salute as well. She was showing us the cargo, right? That was what she said at the start.
She says you.
She said something about showing us the cargo at the start.
Oh yeah, she mentioned what the cargo was. So it was like a lot of building supplies, so on and so forth, and then the personalized items. The building supplies you're welcome to go into and to investigate and whatnot yourself. Like that was kind of like, it's stuff for building supplies. And there's like what's what we're looking for, a itinerary. No, a ledger as to kind of like the stuff that's there. As for the personal supplies, there's a ledger to who it belongs to, but not what the contents are that are inside there. So if you're interested in that sort of a thing, you're going to have to either open it up or use some sort of X-ray vision to find out what's in those.
If we're actually going to be stepping onto the barge now, I'm going to be finding a room that I can change in.
Sure, absolutely. So you guys can, of course, go into the barges, as you said. We'll get to how this kind of starts in a moment. Any last questions, boys, before you get on that barge? Any last anything? No?
Nope.
Okay. So you climb onto the barge to begin the voyage and start heading north. Again, I'm sure you're going to investigate what's inside some of these crates and whatnot, which we'll get into shortly. But once you guys get on the barge and start heading north, on this, you come to the realization of a few different things. Jake, you've been on these barges many times before for transportation. However, your responsibility is always to relax on the barge. It's not your, you don't really work on them much. So to say that it's out of your wheelhouse is not, it kind of makes sense. Like how does one go about, protecting alongside this thing, so on and so forth, like that sort of a detail. Tesh, your character has barely been on river barges before. Barely.
Oh, yeah.
Typically sticking to traversing on the land. So again, for you, you kind of imagine there's guards to handle this, right? No? There's literally us three, Timmy, and four other guards, and that's it. Neil, you, however, not only are you extremely familiar with this, you actually know one of the other river guards there, because these are literally river guard that are coming with you, that are heading north. So one of the river guards that's there, we can have Steve decide that character's name real quick. It's probably Sans. We could have Steve decide that character's name real quick to for how it is that you know them. But one of the things that you talk to them about as you're heading north is that they're actually, because they don't actually know, because they kind of in conversation kind of ask, "Oh, where is it that you guys are going?" because they're actually going to be breaking off from your travel at some point in time on the way up. I am sorry. Where are we?
I might just need to restart the Zoom real quick.
Oh no!
Is
It
that okay?
begins.
No. It's to do with I think the other program I need to use needs to be open before Zoom.
Anton Hemi.
Hold on. I think I made a small mistake, so I just want to make sure.
Okay, well, while you're doing that, I'll restart Zoom real quick.
Oh, that's right. You're not quite getting onto a river barge yet. Ha 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 ha. I made a small mistake because I'm looking at a map. I just forgot. What
Shane. Shane.
Oh, we're not getting onto it yet?
You're actually getting on a boat.
Oh, okay.
Because this river does not bring you to where it is that you're going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the river that brings you to where you're going is actually, if you're looking at the map, it literally travels through the D in the word Dween. Whereas you guys started off in McGlynn, which is where you were meeting because of the significance of this location.
I'll wait then, because I don't need this yet then. Because I won't be, I'm not in astral suit yet. Then I'll wait till we're on the barge, and I'll find somewhere to change on the barge.
So you definitely you definitely have to go travel to the river that you're going in. So it's funny enough because if you look at the map that I showed you beforehand, typically speaking, kind of you see those little dotted lines there. That's kind of keeping to where you travel along the coast, like that nice travel along the coast that's safe to bring you from A to B, and then you kind of pull into the river that's down at the base of that river. Sorry,
Did I spell that wrong?
down at the base of that river. I don't think
Yeah, you did.
Did I make that up? Oh yeah.
Oh, I just didn't do a capital.
No, you put the
No,
H on
you
the wrong
spelled it
side.
wrong.
Oh, wait, what? Oh, I did.
transpose H and
Oh,
D.
I didn't even notice.
Anton Hemi.
Sorry, which of these rivers are we going up for?
You will be going. So you're currently at the base. You're currently in McGlynn.
McGlynn?
You're
Yep.
hopping on a ship to bring you over to the one that goes through the D, the big D.
The big D. Okay.
Yeah, you know the big D.
Wait,
Yeah.
none of them go through the big D.
Yeah.
They go either side of the big D.
No, one
No,
passes through the big D. Literally travels through the D. Like at one point in time, it is one with the D.
It's not. I'm sorry.
It
Go,
is.
go Dwayne.
Yeah.
The D in
Wait,
Dwayne.
we're taking a boat down to there. Okay.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah.
enough.
Yeah.
Because you
Right.
have to go. Yeah. All right, cool. Awesome. So you guys hop on the boat to start heading out there. Now, I'm so sorry. I have to take this back. I have a step. When you guys hop on the ship to start heading out to sea, this is something that's uncomfortable for all of you. None of your... Jake, even your character, has seen the ocean many times, has stepped on docked ships many times, but you've actually never been out to sea before. So this is a new experience for all of your characters, where you kind of are just noticing things that are out there.
It'd be interesting because, like, even though Galen knows that because of some of his abilities, he'd be perfectly safe if the ship capsized. This would still be a very weird feeling to him. Yeah. And he's
So
like not okay with it.
yeah, Ash, I've been very, 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 very busy. So
Going from
yesterday
never
busy though.
seeing the sea to on it.
Yesterday
go on.
busy is was with family busy though. Was enjoyable busy, not work busy, which I have been prior. And today's my 18-hour day, so maybe tomorrow it's my day off from work. That's my only day off this for 14, 15 days. So either way, it's what was I saying? You get, so like you said, never seeing the sea, hopping on it, it's actually kind of like jarring and exciting. So for you, twinge of fear, sure, but at the same time, it's like genuinely exciting. Like, I never got to see the sea, it's beautiful. Now I'm right by the sea, it's beautiful. Now I'm getting in a boat to the sea, it's beautiful. Now I'm in a boat I'm out to sea, it's beautiful. My stomach is very uncomfortable right now, you know? So I don't know if any of you have ever actually been out to the ocean, out on a boat to sea before, but it is
Yes, it is.
it's yeah, I found out the hard way while going whale watching that I am susceptible to seasickness.
I am not. I'm very not susceptible to motion sickness. It's weird. Sea sickness and motion sickness.
Yeah, Dramamine just made me tired, and I hadn't slept much the night beforehand. It was just a miserable experience. But, anyways, I saw whales and dolphins. It was cool. So you you guys are out to sea. Now, one of the things that you notice when you're out here is if your characters are concerned about the safety of this, you are well within the protective borders of Paradel. So, I mean, Paradel has an extremely robust navy anyways. And beyond that, like, there are many naval ships that are out inside this this area. Considering that Dween, as we discussed beforehand, is a huge area where commerce happens by boat, you can imagine that this region here, with Rast to its east and Sahora to its west, that it is very protected. The only coastline that is not controlled by Paradel in any area around here is that of the Barren Lands. And let's just say that the Karak of the Southern Barren Lands, they're not the most seaworthy of people. Constructing of ships isn't something that they're particularly good at. And it's not like they have a lot of lumber to chop down and to make into boats. So, I mean, it's actually a rather safe area. However, as you're speaking to the seafaring folk that are here, as you're speaking to the sailors, they will tell you of the other dangers of sea. I want you guys to go ahead and roll me a charisma check for each of you to kind of like get along with the crew and to find out what you can find out. I'm just gonna put my game back up so that cat doesn't try to come in here. 1 second.
A charisma check. This kid doesn't know what like.
Oh, why did it roll twice? That's weird. Mine was 11.
We're not using deploy. Like, what are we doing here?
Mine rolled twice for some reason. Just take the first.
Yeah, I'm with Neil. Is this not a diplomacy type?
Is this not a diplomacy,
deal?
boyo? So
Honestly,
just a charisma, not a diplomacy.
Anna wants osteoflotate ships. Just
Same
charisma,
make the
correct?
boats
Just
outbound.
charisma.
Just charisma. Okay.
Bone boats.
Why was there? Oh, he pressed 2 by accident, so obviously I have to take the first one.
Yep.
Cool. So yeah, you guys are talking to the sailors that are there, trying to get along with them to the best of your ability, so on and so forth. It's actually Tristan that for some reason they have degrees of agreement with Tristan. They just seem to be like-minded. You know what I mean? They just kind of like are on the same level. You know? You know what I mean? They just get along great.
Nudge.
Yeah. It's like, huh, so, a boat?
Oh, wow.
And they're like, yeah, we're ropes. Ropes? Yeah, ropes. Boat. But beyond that, I actually was giving Tristan a lower DC than you guys anyways, because he spends a lot of time on barges and whatnot, which utilize wind to travel as much as it uses oars. And since you guys are staying so close to the shore, you guys would use a combination of sails and oars as well, because you can imagine like offshore reefs, or whether they be craggy rock areas because you're pretty close to the shore or whatnot. You have to use a combination of the two. The current's not going to be as strong over here. Blah 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 blah. So your character's kind of like talking to the people on here. They give you some of the rumors that happen to exist. Like, for instance, they do tell you that while this area is relatively safe from piracy, it is believed that it is rumored that there are still pirates that happen to make their way into the Bay Area, into this area over here as you're moving further and further away from the Barren Lands. Because like that area right between like McGlynn to Rast, that is like the most secure from anybody being able to get in, because you can literally have like an embargo there, like a chain of ships that are always watching through. But over here, it's actually believed that there is it's rumored, this is to you, Tristan, you'll be able to get this information. It's rumored that there's actually a few military vessels that fly the flags of Paradel by day, but fly the pirate flags by night. The crew earns the prince's coin, doing their tasks as much as they do, protecting the lands from the pirates from beyond, but then also go to gather the booty as much as they can as well. Very, very rich folk they are. Very rich folk indeed. It's said there's an island off of Rast where they have all of their treasures stored. I'd be wary of any military vessel that's not known for merchants. Be wary of them. They're always looking to conquer their next conquest.
Tristan would like glance up
story
and
voice.
be like, "Aren't we a military vessel?"
You what, mate? He'd be
Trying
like,
to say something.
he just looks at you like, well, now you have a -4 charisma. Do your check, bastard. No, he'd be like, yeah, no, that's not us. It's not us doing it. I mean, be wary of the others. The others, friend. The other ships.
Yeah, the other ships, of course.
Yes. I mean,
The ones around Rest.
what, you've not heard of the ships that just seem to have all of their oh, I'm sure what you're thinking as you hear these rumors on shore, that when supplies go missing, it just must be the merchants, losing them at sea accidentally, and lining their own pockets. Merchants wouldn't do that to honest folk.
You seem to have a very positive opinion of merchants.
More so than that of the Boston military, in Climë.
Which is interesting given that you are part of the military, isn't it?
Um,
Do you want to talk about it?
Neil's such a fuck. And so that kind of rumor, and then the other kind of rumor that you would get off of them is and we'll take this one away from Neil because he's such a fuck. This would actually be Viggo. Viggo, you would actually hear about specifically that Bay area, the Barren Bay, that region over there. It's actually said that there's a kraken that lives inside there. More importantly, it's actually said that because the stories that there was a kraken that lived in the Barren Bay are actually very, very old stories, and they're written into the history of the conquests of Paradel. Like, so this is one of those things where there being a kraken in the Barren Bay is, while still technically a legend, is actually written into Paradel history. So it's less of legend and more of historical document. So, I mean, it is so long ago, it's centuries ago, so who knows how true or not true it is. But it's actually believed that one of the greatest conquests of the Perrin Navy is when they finally fought and defeated the Kraken that was there, bringing the Centaurian Armada. So it was literally just 100 ships that fought against the Kraken, and while only a dozen or so survived, it was finally defeated at sea. But that's not the rumor. The rumor is that the swelling magics of the Barren Lands have actually brought the Kraken back from the depths, and that it is actually returned.
Oh, that's fucked up. That is so
fuck that.
up.
Oh,
That is a million times worse.
yeah.
Someone give me a map that I can draw on so I can put a big red cross over that area.
Don't go here. Here is bad.
Leave for regicide.
Scott.
Kraken side works. Barren Bay. There we go. We got it. Aurorum Barren Bay.
Oh god. The Pirates of the Caribbean thing starts. Yeah.
And
What?
wait till you see season 2 of Warmonger. It gets renamed Crackmonger.
Crackmonger.
And
How
now
are we
you
spelling
realize,
this?
now you realize why Jake's the flagship of this campaign.
Monster Hunter.
Oh Jesus. Pirates of the Caribbean. Thank you. No, you guys don't understand. There is literally a Patreon campaign that is currently in the a port city in Southern Barrenlands right now.
No.
Yeah. See.
Lol.
Down by the bay where the
You'll be
Kraken
fine,
goes.
don't
How
worry.
much to trump card the Patreon campaign?
Look,
Ooh. Ano could do it. He just spams the trump card button for Patreon. For Patreon.
while this is going on, I'm going to very quickly be right back.
Sure. So, unfortunately for Tesh, his character is no Tesh. Sorry. Wait, let me see the results. Yeah, Gallon's able to, basic rumors and whatnot, seafaring things about, mermaids and things like that happen to be able to see. Kind of like the stories that everybody hears, and all of you guys get to hear some beautiful sea shanties, which are wonderful. I do have to say, if we are going to have a sea shanty on this show, it has to be created by Neil. It's only appropriate. He's British. I mean, the rest of us kind of evolved past shantying, but, the Brits, the Royal Navy. But so you guys eventually are actually, you have was
Two of us
probably
here actually have Royal Navies.
You say we evolved past sea shanties, forgetting that sea shanties literally took over the internet earlier this year.
I found after it stopped, I found out that apparently it was a thing on TikTok, but I don't have TikTok, so boomer me.
Oh, fair enough.
But most likely there's not any incidents happening in while you guys are out to sea. To handle this really quickly, we'll actually have Viking Ragu go ahead and roll me a D100. So, but again, it's very unlikely that anything bad happens there.
It also kind of makes sense that Gallon was the one that didn't get along well with them if they very much hate the military, and he's probably the one who's like standing at attention the whole time and
they
being
are
very proper. Yeah, but like they're not being. Like,
five. That's not good. That's not good.
You know how there's
for the
that's bad. But you know how there's like a difference between like the average soldier and that person who's being overly military. Where if the average soldier has like an issue with the military,
yeah,
this person they're going to
clearly have a broom handle up your bum. Yeah.
Yeah.
The mop handle? We're on a ship.
Oh god, are we about to fight the Kraken?
No, you guys head west from McGlynn, so you're well outside of that area. Yeah. No.
It turns out these guys are the ones stealing goods.
Oh god. Okay, you rolled a 5.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Okay, so let's get into the game. So while you guys are traveling at sea, one of the things that you notice, and I'm not sure who amongst you is the most survivalistic, but and you don't have to roll. The character has several ranks in survival, whatever. You have to notice that, it's some pretty dark clouds off yonder. It's not going to be a problem, is it? And they're like, no, I'm sure we'll get to our destination before. They are moving rather quickly, though, aren't they? There's some pretty dark clouds off yonder, aren't there? As a storm starts rolling in. But it's one of those things where you can kind of like feel the winds kicking up before the clouds reach you guys well enough. And it's like one of the crew members says, the good thing about a storm is that it brings the good winds. You could usually get to where you're going much quicker. I don't know why I switched to accents, but I just did. And
you nailed it, man. You nailed it.
Oh, thanks. So you guys are making your way, but the clouds themselves are overtaking much quicker. Going back to the rumors, they say the good thing is that's when the storms are happening. There are more creatures that come about. Did you know? It is when storms hit that the Sahagin come aboard ship. Sahagin, dangerous folk, dangerous indeed. The good thing is, if you kill a Sahagin, delicious.
How do you cook them?
Oh, medium rare. So good, tender, sweet even. Delicious.
With butter?
No, you don't need butter. If you cook it the right way, the fat between the muscles, it just kind of froths up and he grabs a rope and starts pulling the rope as hard as he can.
They are 100% pirates.
These things sound great.
Yep. So so the storm starts to really kind of like flare up and kick up as they're doing what they can to handle this.
Is there like a higher point on the boat where I can I can keep watch? Not like I don't want a crow's nest style thing. Just I want like the highest deck.
Yeah. So
if you know what I mean.
The aft, pop up on that booty. That booty's like a shelf.
I'm sitting up there and trying to keep an eye, watch out for anything and everything. I wouldn't take out my bow yet. I'll save that for if anything happens.
Okay. So you guys they're trying to wrangle against. No, I don't think any of you guys actually have profession sailor, do you?
No.
God, no.
Do you, Neil?
No.
Profession soldier.
Nice. So, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to assist at all in this matter. You're going to kind of have to trust the crew in this situation. So, as the crew is wrangling against the storm and you're really trying to fight against it, it is rolling in hard and fast. It is tossing the ship about incredibly. I need fortitude saves from all three of you. It's tossing the ship about. It is like a huge kind of lurches and whatnot as the sea seems to get angry around you. I don't know how your characters...
God damn.
So Viggo is able to handle this pretty well. He's actually rather accustomed to his stomach being tossed about from the various concoctions he's had over the years. Some things are just kind of, even just smells, kind of get him nauseated. So he's actually able to kind of work about no problem. Galen can kind of like stomach it down a little bit. Tristan is more accustomed to like the river, and he thought he was accustomed to a sea stomach, but oh boy, this is very, very different. You know what I mean? It's like
river go.
Yeah.
Boat go.
Well, it's funny too because you don't just go like back and forth. You go like up and down and front to back. It's crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah, it was fine when it was in a storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, your character probably immediately goes below deck. Now, the other two of you, one of the things that you notice that when you're up on the deck of the ship is that the sea itself, it's again like how big these waves are. You don't understand how to measure these sorts of things, right? And you certainly don't have a yardstick out or some sort of, a sextant or whatever you could use to almost like whatever they use in the sea to measure the waves, right? So I know sextants for the stars, but that's sort of a measuring device, almost like a compass. Anyways, so you have no idea of seeing how it is to measure the waves, but just witnessing how you go from the top of one wave down into the swell of another one as another wave comes up from beyond is genuinely frightening. I need from the two of you that stay above deck because your stomach can handle it, a will save against the fear of just seeing this.
If we had a choice, I mean, I would have gone below deck before anything happened, but I'll roll it anyway.
Nope. If you choose to stay below deck, like I can stomach it, but I don't want to be up there. I'm staying down here.
Yeah, and
cool.
I'm reading below deck.
Yeah,
I love the idea of you just like it's one of those things where as like the ship swells, you just occasionally reach up and just move the candle back into place and then just continue. As you have poor Tristan's over there like, oh, you like occasionally you just barely kind of holding it together. Then you look up and you see him. I don't know if you've been in a car. If you're susceptible to car sickness, you see somebody reading.
Yeah.
It like turns your stomach more. It's like you look up, you see him reading, like into a bucket.
So this will be interesting. Tell me if I fail that.
Let me read what that. Sorry, I have to read this.
Because it's a fear check, so I have some fun stuff I can do if I fail it.
I mean, a 13's a pretty decent check. This is a mundane fear,
okay, cool.
So I would say you pass.
Cool.
So you're watching these huge waves, these giant swells that are going down. All that's genuinely frightening. But again, you're keeping your stomach together and you're not afraid of what's happening above deck. So all of that's kind of, gathering your kind of like it's the crew is impressed by it. But then there's one more issue. Is that the water itself washes across the top of the deck in these huge waves that come splashing across. Sometimes there's small little bits and just like the deck gets wet. And other times it's like a massive wave that comes rushing across. So the last thing I need from you is a reflex save to be able to withstand all of that and not get washed overboard. This is when you don't roll a 1.
Yeah, not acrobatics. Maybe acrobatics if I fail. Oh, okay.
Well, it's funny. You can't see the result on stream. You actually have a third.
Oh, you can't?
Yeah, because you rolled right on top of it.
Oh, right. I rolled on it.
It's a plus more modifier, so he rolled a 13 total. So 13 total for the reflex save. So again, I mean, it's not graceful, to be clear. It's not like you don't feel fear. It's you're resisting it. It's not that you're not slipping. It's that you're not falling or being washed aside. You can imagine that your character's wise enough to hold on hard to a decent amount of rope that's not inside anybody's way, and you're kind of like taking this all in. You're going to say something?
He might like literally wrap the rope around his arm and then hold it. Not like to get like the best grip he can get on something and like tie it to the edge if it's not tied to anything else, sort of thing. Just he knows ways to try and hold on, sort of thing.
You want to go ahead and roll me one more. It's probably only one more thing. A perception check. Now, mind you, the DC is very high because there's penalties for being inside of a storm.
Oof.
That's actually a pretty good roll. So one of the things that you notice the whole while that this is happening, because again, like you're above deck, you're able to withstand this, so on and so forth. So you're trying to take in the sights. First of all, you've never seen the ocean before, so you've never seen just like the whole horizon is twinkling.
Ooh.
You've never been out to sea before. We're literally now like barely off in the distance when you could see normally. You could see that land is many miles or kilometers, whatever, off to the side, but like now. Like you are surrounded by. If you've ever watched a lightning storm, even just in an area where there's like pretty open land and trees are kind of a bit pushed off, so you kind of like see a good area, or feel like up on a mountain or whatever it is, or certainly out to sea. Just everywhere around you are just surrounded by. It feels like the clouds go on for eternity. It feels like you were lost. It feels like everything is just going to just swallow you up and destroy you. It's one of the most humbling experiences that you can have, right? Literally, the waves are so massive they could swallow up a town. You know what I mean? If not larger. The sky is like almost like coming down at you, like it's going to swallow up the whole world. The sheer number of lightning strikes you see happening to the ocean in the various areas all around, far and near and whatnot. The many other shocks of lightning kind of traveling from cloud to cloud a bit ahead. The lighting of the sky is the ones that are happening within the clouds that you can't even see the actual bolts of. The torrential downpour mopping down your hair and your clothes and whatnot. The slippery ground, the way that the crew kind of like works together. Everything is just like, it's so harmonious and so frightening and awe-inspiring at once. This is an experience your character will never forget. You know, it's one of those, I hope to never have to deal with this again, but I will never forget this experience. But the one of the things that kind of catches your eye is as the lightning strikes, kind of like lights up the area, you happen to look off the side of the ship, and one of the things that you notice, you swear that you see down there, is a massive, looks like the shape of a fish. Looks like the shape of a fish, kind of like traveling alongside the boat that's down there, and you kind of like catches you like, what the? Like, did I see that right? As you can imagine, like your character not being so dumb as to like lean onto the railing, but like really securing really hard so you can feel like your hands turning red or purple as you're holding on really hard, leaning out to see a bit. So as the next flash happens, you know that you're not in the middle of blinking during. The next flash that happens, you're able to like see it light up, and you realize, no, there's definitely shapes underneath the water as the water is like kind of doing its big movements and whatnot, and so it's the shapes that are down there are able to kind of like come closer to the surface or deeper, right? You can see there's definitely shapes that are down there, and you swear you see like a forged weapon, like a trident or like a pitchfork or something like that that's underneath the ocean. Like this sort of a thing is genuinely frightening. But while this is all happening, and while the ship is, kind of being lurched about, so on and so forth, you actually notice that there's also a person. You're in the aft of the ship, right? Well, you wouldn't be at the moment now. You would kind of be like down closer to where you can get below deck. So you're holding on to the rigging. You can actually see in the fore, like the bow of the ship, there's a person up there. How they hold steady, you don't know. There's too many things, like a railing, crates, etc. Kind of like obscuring your vision. So maybe they're held there by ropes, whatever it might be. You're not sure. But there's a person standing at the bow of the ship that seemingly is arms in the air, calling out to the heavens, perhaps a priest to Lady Aravel, who knows what they are. But there's a person in the front of the ship seemingly calling out to it, or like almost like pleading to the storm itself as the rest of the crew is scrambling about doing their work. And again, the degree of steadiness that they are is somewhat shocking. One of the other things that you also happen to notice is off in the distance. This is the last thing I'm going to be able to give to you here. As off in the distance, as you can actually see another ship barely able to hold together, as it's also lurching about and barely holding on. And you're not the only one that notices this. There's the crew kind of like pointing off to the side and gesturing towards it and whatnot. That's there. All this.
He would also make sure that as soon as like, if he's realizing no one else has seen the shapes in the water, the other thing he would be yelling is like, holding on with one hand, pointing down, saying, "We've got like yelling, we've got company."
So you're trying to gather their attention. Again, it's so loud. The rain, the thunder, the waves, their own shouting, the riggings, the creaking, all of stuff is so loud that it's hard for them to hear you. For you them to even want to listen to you, to try to isolate your voice over all of this, you're gonna have to roll a intimidate or diplomacy check to be able to shout above this and have them care to listen.
I would roll an intimidate because they're both the same, and intimidate is probably what he's going for here, just like yelling. Nope.
Yeah, it's just unfortunately what you're trying to get to them. They have so many more important things than to listen to some landlubber.
If I see that like there's no hope of getting through to them, I would probably grab one of the chakrams and get ready, and just be ready for something to happen.
Sure. So inevitably, as like this kind of goes on for a while, actually go ahead and roll me just out of no, you don't need to roll anything yet. So this goes on for a while, that this is all happening before finally one of the crew members comes up to you as the ship just continues to move. And actually after one wave comes and kind of like cuts the line between where you can see and where that ship over there can see, kind of like breaks that vision, which has happened multiple times. You're looking off in that direction. You don't see that ship anymore.
Oh, shit.
I just need one more. You can roll one more will save against fear against that. You boys are below deck, so you actually are just down there vomiting or reading. Sorry, Steez. Fail.
Okay. So,
bless you.
I would actually, after one round, so after 6 seconds, I'm going to do an auto hypnosis check to see if I can steal myself. And I believe that is DC, where is it? Resist fear effect DC, whatever that is.
Don't you have to expend sonic focus to do that?
I've trained
I
your
believe
mind.
you do. Because you have to expend sonic focus, I believe, to trigger something like that. To break yourself of the fear.
I don't see. The idea is if you fail on your next round, you can make an auto hypnosis check to overcome fear, and then if I succeed that, I then have to do another check to see if I can. I get a +4 on the next check to save it.
Gotcha. To more or less just like break it. Gotcha.
Yeah, it doesn't say I need to spend focus, but I can't.
So either way, to describe what happens here, when that kind of goes out of sight, like you see the wave kind of swallow that one out of sight, is what it seems like it happened. It's frightening. You're just like,
yeah.
Oh,
he would
shit.
have like
Oh,
that moment of fear.
Yeah. Like,
and he would have that like 6 seconds of paralyzing fear, and then he would immediately just sort of steel himself, hold up, and then see if I can make it again. Because now I get a +4 on this.
As you just try to like calm yourself, kind of like drill it down.
Did it go? No.
It did not yet.
There we go. So 20.
Okay.
Yeah. So he steals it. He calms his mind. It's that sort of like mind over matter thing. He's overcoming the fear, knowing instead of like pushing the fear to the side, looking at the situation, going, "We need to live, fear later," sort of thing.
So one of the crewmen, after you kind of like are able to finally steal yourself, will come up to you. Not like it's not like they're adjacent to you, right? They're still a good gap from you, and we'll just start like yelling out to you through like the rain and the storm and everything. We'll just start kind of yelling out to you. You might want to get below deck.
Oh, knowing that the other ship has gone down now. Yeah, he's gonna. Well, knowing how things are going, does it look like I can maintain this without being an issue to the crew? Because if I'm an issue to the crew, that's
you're out of their way. It's just a matter of your own safety.
Then okay, what he's gonna do? He's gonna go just below, like where you go below deck, but stay where he can hear he can see what's going on outside and get ready to immediately jump.
There's
out.
that gray area that's usually it's meant to secure things so they don't fall out. God forbid the ship goes. But at the same time, it's you can be below that gray area, but understand that's where water washes into.
Oh, he's fine with that.
Okay.
He's totally fine with that. He just wants to be ready because he knows that something's going down. The guy who's telling him to go below deck, he'll say, "I saw shadows in the water, tridents maybe. Something's down there."
So you start trying to call that out to them, and they say, "Below deck." They're about as bright as a Tristan, so.
Then okay, I'm gonna head below deck and tell them what I saw.
Okay, cool. So we'll get to that in a second. So funny enough, as you're going below deck, you actually saved yourself having to make a climb check. So as you're going below deck, you literally so you kind of make your way down the stairs. And then all of a sudden, you can feel the whole ship, which is kind of like again, kind of like tossing.
Oh yeah.
As a huge wave comes up, the whole ship starts to kind of like really rise up, almost like you're on one of those like boats that do the rides in Carnival or whatever it is. And so as you're like walking down the stairs, you realize you're like lifting off the stairs and starting to fall
I was about
forward.
to say, everyone's seen the videos of it's like perfectly still, and then the person just goes whoa off to the side.
Yep. So funny enough, a ship of perspective. So you start like kind of like falling through the ship as that happens, and just like all of you can feel this. Whereas your characters is like, oh shit. And Neil, I need you to make me a reflex save. Jake, for a different reason, you can make me a reflex save. Tesh, you know why you're making a reflex save.
Yep.
Neil, as you feel this kind of like happening, your stomach is turning, you hold on to your bucket, but are able to keep it upright so it doesn't go flopping anywhere. Jake, as you see the rush of water coming in through the door, you're very quickly able to kind of like gather up your pack of books and throw them up on top of an area and kind of like hold it, pin it at bay, and hold your other books. Like your feet are angled in a weird area and the water rushes over and gets the bottom of your pants and feet wet, but all of your books and everything are able to stay dry. And Gallon, as you're kind of like falling forward, you're like, you grab onto like a door frame, and like your legs are kind of like, you're almost like sideways along the wall. Not quite, but like your feet are just barely touching the floor as you're almost sideways along the wall. For a moment, as the ship just tilts so much to the point where the issue is like going up like that, the ship can come back down. It's designed for it, unless it happens to be thrown sideways by a gust of wind or a change in the water or whatever it might be. And that's where like the real concerns might be. And it's also during this time that I want, not you, Tesh, because of where you are, but I was actually going to have Viggo and Tristan go ahead and roll me a perception check real quick.
Oh wow.
So Viggo, definitely, you could hear it. You swear you hear at the bottom of like, Tristan doesn't notice. He's just so seasick and he's holding onto his.
Is what he hears.
That was loud. So loud.
He was supposed to be quiet.
That was so
to
loud.
Block out everything.
So either way, you can hear what sounds almost like a.
Drums in the deep.
At the bottom of the hull of the ship, like something is hitting the ship from the bottom. It is genuinely frightening. You hear like 3 booms. It goes boom, maybe about like a good second and a half or so, boom. Then there's like a couple of scraping sounds, and then like several seconds later, as all of a sudden the ship is kind of like starting to level, you hear one loud boom again against the bottom of the ship. Tesh, you don't notice this. Your character's kind of straightening himself out and pushing himself back up and running along the base as the water's starting to rush back this way, washing over your feet or whatever. So you wanted to go talk to them. So you're kind of like moving past the area where again water's kind of like water falling down on top of your head as you're going towards the door where they are. And then like after that loud boom hits, you're able to, go over to, where the door that they are is and open it up to go and see them there. Viggo, I imagine, kind of like has a look on his face as he's hearing something strange. There's, of course, a very distinct look on Tristan's face, whereas you yourself are like...
Yeah, he would, like, the door, as soon as the door's open, he's like, there was another ship, it's gone down. There was something in the water.
As soon as you say that, you look at Viggo, and he's got a pretty fearful look on his face, and he's still securing his stuff. And he just yells out to you, "Alert the captain! There's something banging on the bottom of the ship. I can hear banging and scraping."
Oh shit! And yeah, he would immediately turn around and
he would obviously as well yell out as you're leaving. And he's like, "It's not the waves hitting it either. Like something is."
Oh no! If you said scrape, he'll believe you. Like it's not. It's one of those things where like you're the knowledgeable one. You prove.
Yeah, but the captain might just. That's why he said it, because the captain might just be like, "It's the fucking waves." Oh, yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So yeah, he'll immediately run up and try and. I assume we would have been told which one's the captain.
Oh yeah. Obviously, yeah. So, you go back up the stairs to go back outside. It's one of those things where I will lie. Once you get to the top of the stairs and you're gonna step through that doorway to go back outside, you're looking out there and she's looking at all of this. And you're thinking to yourself as you see the waves around, how did I survive as long as I like? You've studied yourself. You've steeled your nerves. I'm not worried about fear necessarily, but it's just like, survival mode. Like,
yeah,
how did I survive? Like, what is wrong with me? And so you're looking out there and you're looking at how far away, like where somebody of note might be on the ship. And you're like, I have to travel all the way from here to there, holding on to rigging for dear life.
Is there anything like a metal rim around what the like? Is there like a piece of metal that I can hit something against near me?
You hit something against near me? What do you mean?
Like, is for example, the edges of the doorway down metal, or is there something? I want to take the end of my sword and bang it against something as hard as I can to make like clank, 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 look here sort of thing.
Yeah, you could say there's something like that there. And I imagine you grab and you start smashing, but again, it's just so loud out there. Like everything is just so loud. It's hard for anybody to really notice that.
Yeah, then I guess I'm gonna have to try and make a run for the captain.
So you are going to try to get over to them. So whether or not be the captain, or at least somebody of notes, right? Like another officer, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
You're going to actually have to go ahead and make me a climb check, because you are literally climbing along the riggings here. You're not stupid enough to, what are those called? The wet. When you run and they make it water and you slide on it. What the hell is this?
Oh, slip and slide.
Slip and slide. Thank you. God. Okay, so with your climb check of the 15, trying to make your way across this area as much as you can, holding onto the riggings, pulling yourself over, you eventually get yourself close enough, waving your arm occasionally, trying to get somebody's attention, but they ignore you, climbing further, waving, trying to eventually get somebody's attention, whatever it might be. You eventually finally are able to get one of the officers to kind of cross the gap to come over to you. Oh, actually, my apologies before that happens. As you're making your way out there to try to make this happen, waving, they're ignoring you at first. Roll me a perception check real quick to see if you see something. Yeah, I'd say you don't notice. So, as you, because there's a lot going on. So
there is a lot.
You eventually, wave and get somebody's, attention. Kind of like one of the, the officers, comes over and they're like, "What?"
And yeah, he would, I don't want to yell because I don't want to ruin my throat, but, he would say, so, there's something is, banging and scratching at the bottom of the ship. And I saw a shape in the water with a trident.
So again, only being able to hear so much as this, he says, "Banging, scratching,
bottom of ship."
He nods, says, "No shit,
not waves."
He shakes his head as well and just starts pointing off in a direction. To which you kind of look that way and you look over there, and what you see is So remember that other ship you saw nearby?
Yeah.
It hasn't just capsized.
Oh.
It's broken apart, and it's actually nearby. And it seems as though parts of that ship, the chunks of it, are smashing into your ship.
Oh. Shit.
So
he would then knowing that they've obviously dealt with Sahagin before, he would say he would just be like, saw trident in water.
he nods and says, "Better them than us." And kind of like,
Oh God. I'm not getting through to him, am I? I don't have any other, I don't have a trident to show him.
oh, you can roll a sense motive to see if you understood what he was trying to say.
Okay, yeah, I'll
Should plug in my phone. Yeah, no, you actually understand that he's saying, yeah, but they're not going to attack two ships. They already.
Oh, okay. Okay, then I guess he would just nod as a response to that, and then start climbing his way back again.
Climb check.
Yay! Don't roll the one. That's good.
You make your way back below deck and kind of inform them of what's going on.
Yeah, we don't need to RP that. He'll just advise that like the other ship, the wreckage is what's hitting the deck, and the people above the deck know about the Sahagin at the very least. Now we wait, and he would go back to the grate again, like I said before.
Kind of like grabbing onto the straps that are down there and everything. For you guys, it's a jarring experience, everything that goes on, but the perspectives are very, very different. One person just remembers an incredible amount of discomfort. Another one remembers a considerable amount of fear, but also aggravation of everything going on. And the other one just had an experience that they will carry with them to their grave and beyond. Honestly, it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not sure who I worshipped before, but I might add the water god on top of it.
Yeah, you know? the like now that it's like he doesn't think they're gonna be fighting soon. The auto hypnosis is, he's let himself feel the fear.
That's right, God-fearing man. So it goes on for many more hours. So I guess those hours leading up into this like apex moment, right? And then goes on for a few more hours afterwards. The whole experience of like the crazy part of the storm goes on for, a good like 9 hours or so. But there's a lead up to it. And then even to come down off of it, even though it's not as bad, all of you are so hypersensitive to it that you kind of are it feels worse than it is. But eventually you kind of like see the crew just more or less kind of like working about relatively unhindered, aside from the fact that they were just exhausted. They're just so tired from everything that they were doing, because that's an all hands on deck moment, and the work doesn't stop, but it's very physically and mentally laborious. Like, I mean, I'm making jokes about the crew of the ship being dumb, but let's be serious for a second here. That is something that you have to be very mindful of very many things. Now, luckily, they can become rote actions, but being a crewman on a actual sailing vessel during a storm, it requires an incredible amount of mindfulness and skill. Like, it is not something that some idiot can just pick up a rope and be like, "Look, I sail now, huh?"
One of my favorite things that's ever happened with sailing was as a school thing we got to do. There was like a sailing boat that we got to take turns trying, and there was like a bay that had like rocks to make it so like this area was stable water, wind wasn't too bad, and then you'd leave the bay, sail a bit, and then come back in. And one of my favorite things was watching one of the groups just like immediately, it's just like the second it leaves the safety, it just thunk. It was so glorious.
It's like watching that scene from Moana, like the light behind the beacon calls me, and then I'm like,
pretty much. It was Oh, whoa.
Anyways, so that's funny. So anyways, you yeah, the you things finally calm down, and the crew is out and about. You can see that while the crew is up there, they have so many things going on. You have a couple of the crewmen have kind of like slowed down, and they actually have like this decent size, fire burning on the top of the ship. They've got a fire going on the specified area at the top of the ship where they're cooking up a ton of food for the crew to kind of give them the strength to keep going on. The food that they're cooking is a considerable amount of oatmeal. Oatmeal is really good because you can bring different things to cook it with, to flavor it with. You can put lots of like dried fruits and stuff like that inside there, to give it a bit of flavor. It stores very well. There's more than enough water collected from the rain to be able to cook it up. You can see that they're cooking large quantities of coffee. Now, these are sailors. Sailors have strange things that they find enjoyable. When you guys go to get your own like serving of oats and your own serving of coffee or tea, the reason why I say or, I really shouldn't say it's more of an and. They literally take ground up coffee bean and ground up tea leaves, and they use that to make a beverage. That's kind of like a combination of coffee and tea.
Got to get that double kick.
Yeah, they call it sailor's might. It's yeah, it's not enjoyable. Let's say it requires a refined taste.
Gallon would still drink it. He like almost partly out of respect for the crew and partly because he just needs something.
I don't know if Tristan would go to have some, but they'd be like, not you. He would say, he'd be like, and they would go and start giving you water and whatnot. Either way, so one of the things that you guys also notice after the storm has passed and things have calmed down is up on the deck of the ship, there's actually everything's kind of been it looks like everything's kind of been dislodged to a degree. You can go ahead and roll me intelligence checks, each of you. It's gonna be a higher DC for Tristan and Viggo than it is for. Wow, Gallon crushed it. Gallon would get it, definitely. But also be noticed by Viggo as well, because he rolled well. You guys both noticed that at first it looks like it's dislodged. Like there's a whole bunch of like a mess up there. Like you're worried, Neil, that maybe some of the supplies that you guys were bringing with you got like thrown outside of its bindings and potentially got washed overseas, into the sea, so on and so forth. But the two of you after a bit realize, no, there seems to be more crates aboard ship than were beforehand. There's actually a considerable amount more.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, they managed to pick up some of the supplies of the other ship while they were going.
Impressive.
Past. Yeah, very impressive.
Do you guys say anything about this, or?
I don't.
Yeah, no, I don't think he would. He would just it'd just be a note to himself that's more reason to be impressed with the crew.
Cool. So, and they would, kind of like, go about, everybody eats up, you guys eat up and, maintain, to get back some of your strength and so on and so forth. But from
they
here,
need the fire to be no longer soggy as all hell.
Yep. And so, the only other thing that they would say as you guys kind of finish your relatively smooth sailing, to the port that you're going into is, one of the crewmen would say, seems like the captain knew that storm was at sea before we left out. They heard of it. Reports came from Rast talking about it. They even named the bastard Viking. No, sorry. Even named the bastard Magoo. Damned captain chose to sail anyways.
Well, we made it. Well done.
So you guys make your way back to the port. Eventually, you're able to pull in, so on and so forth. You think the whole crew made it? If anybody of them got washed off, if anybody died, they didn't talk about it. So that's a thing.
Just gonna hope that considering they managed to get extra supplies, that they didn't lose anyone.
So you guys make your way, finally when the thing kind of like, pulls into port and whatnot, they're, kind of like depositing things. Everybody can make me a perception check, but all of your supplies are going to be transported off of the vessel and brought over. It's literally one of those things where the particular dock that you pull up to is right at the river base. So you happen to be pulled up where it's like.
Can I just stop you and like I've just had unbelievably good luck, and I've just thought to myself, I've rolled 3 20s, and then I looked at the stream, and I realized what spot I was in, and it makes sense.
But wait, that's where Nick sits.
But it must be the spot for this crew.
Give it back. Right? Give it back. I want it
back. I'm just terror. Look, I've seen earlier this week. I played a game where we rolled a whole bunch of 20s early on, and then I got double crit to death, almost to death, instantly in the next fight. So I don't like where this is going.
So
I don't see 20s that often. So
the creature had 2 hits. It crit twice, full health to dead to 0 me in the first turn of combat.
So where you guys are set up is a special dock for moving stuff from the sea to a barge is what's there. So again, they have rudimentary cranes, to be clear. They do actually have rudimentary cranes that exist. So these aren't the strongest. They're not exactly, they're automated by any stretch. It's very, very, very man-powered, literally, like as things are kind of like, wrapped around and hoisted up, pulled over by people to be able to be let down. But things
I
are moving
wondered
to the
what
barge.
You meant by like a crane, like a primitive crane. But actually, funnily enough, I saw it in Skyrim. They have them in Skyrim in some of the dock places. So that I have a better understanding of what that looks like now. It's cool.
I'm actually curious what that looks like. Skyrim cranes.
They had like weights on one side.
Yes.
They like,
yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So exactly. So it's it's just old technology. This is like Renaissance era craning, right? So anyways, yeah, they're like hoisting the stuff up out of the ship to go be put over to the barge, and obviously you being the officer that's kind of in charge of this, it's at this point that you would have your kind of double check with the captain and the dockmaster of the crew. Dockmaster? Yeah, dockmaster. That sounds right. On the lands to make sure that all of your supplies are correctly going over there. And I guess this makes sense for why you would notice better than anybody else because you're so much involved. You notice that the captain of the ship is also having an aside conversation with the dockmaster. Like at that time where you're talking about where the different supplies are going to be brought to, where so on and so forth. You also see from like across a room where the two of them are having like a kind of a whispered aside, talking about, it says, yeah, mm-hmm. Yep, extra supplies that can be brought over to the other warehouse. Mm-hmm. Yes, of course, you'll get your standard cuts. And then you can literally see the glint of a couple of golden crowns, being handed from the ship's captain to the dockmaster themselves as they're like, slipping them some coin as they're having this side conversation about this stuff. I don't know if your character says anything, absorbs it, we just leave it alone, but you definitely witness this going on. Harbor Master.
No, he definitely would absorb the information. Obviously, he would. He knows the captain's name, but during pleasantries and that, he would get the Harbor Master's name as well.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. And he just stores that information.
Sure. We'll allow Viking to come up with the Harbor Master's name, and the captain's name even. If you want to write that down, there, Jake.
Joey, can you help me out with this?
No. You got to write it down. Open up your PDF. Just put it on your character sheet under bio.
I could do that actually.
Yeah, nice and easy. Anyways, so.
Thank you, Joey. Thank you anyway. I'll be sure to message you in Discord after this call for all the information.
No, what he's saying is, okay, trump card. Back to the game. So you write down the names of these people, but you kind of keep that all that information to yourself, right?
Yep.
All of your supplies are delivered over to the other side, no issues. Actually, when you go through and double check, because you're good at this stuff yourself, when you go through with whoever it is appointed to you by the harbor master, they kind of like walk through line by line of your itinerary. I keep forgetting the word. I say this word so often, and I keep forgetting it. Not itinerary, the ledger, to make sure that everything's there and everything seems to be going well. Unless there's anything else your characters care to do inside this dock, you would literally head out as the next available moment to be able to start heading north on this barge.
Oh, so we're definitely on the barge now.
So the supplies being brought over. It takes many hours, by the way, to deliver. We're talking your characters can leave, because let's say you guys pull up in later in the day, you guys could leave in the morning because they'll work throughout the night to get this kind of stuff done. Yes, Jake.
I want to go around and see if there is any of the beeswax stuff in this place.
Any of the bees? Oh, good call.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I said, because you're pulling up, let's say if it's daytime or nighttime when you pull up, I'll actually allow this one to be a D20 roll by Anno. If it's odd, it's evening. If it's even, it's day. So even for evening. There we go. It's the evening when you pull up. So it's going to be nighttime when you're going about. This is going to vastly reduce the likelihood of you being able to find a shop that's open to able to kind of like supply this stuff for you. But because you're actually...
We wouldn't leave till the morning, right? We wouldn't set off.
Correct, because it's going to take time overnight for you to go. But it's a matter of how late you want to get started. But you being the officer, you can also go through appropriate kind of like channels of, hey, does anybody know if this is kind of about anywhere? Why don't you go ahead and roll me a diplomacy check for trying to find this stuff? So diplomacy of 20. So you're actually able to find out, again, utilizing kind of like the military channels, that there is actually a warehouse that kind of like gathers together supplies for pretty much any military run up and down this route. And so if you're saying you're going into, you wouldn't be able to call it the gate. You wouldn't say you're going to the gate. You're saying you're going to the swamps in the north.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just to be clear, it's actually technically not called the gate. What she really would have said to you guys that day, I'm just a dummy and forgot to say this last time. She would have called it, where are you? Sorry, give me one moment. She would have called it Magadan, is what she would have called you, Magadan. And but you, who had succeeded your history check at the time, would have been like, do you mean the gate? And I think that word phrasing would have triggered the ideas of the second person that semi-succeeded their check as, oh, the gate. You know what I mean? But Magadan is actually the name of it. Either way, so continuing back to the game, so you'd be able to find out where it is they kind of have supplies and whatnot. So you'd be saying that you're going to the swamps up in that region. And so in the morning, you can kind of go and see if you can get your hands on it. The other two of you, I imagine you're just finding a nice cozy bed, especially you, Tristan, a nice comfy pillow on a nice comfy bed, on a nice comfy, ground.
Galen would definitely be renting a room, but partly to dry off his clothes, partly to meditate and steel himself after all that happened, because he wants to get back his focus, gets back his normal focused state, which he prefers.
Sure, absolutely. So you would be spending your time kind of like meditating and focusing on that one. I actually almost imagine your character doing is a bit of meditation wouldn't immediately go to an inn the way that I imagine like Neil's character would bed. You know what I mean? Just kind of like, because the world is swimming around you. Even again, if you've never been out to sea and suffered like really bad seasickness, you could suffer those effects for up to 48 hours later. You could still be feeling kind of like thrown off by the change of the world being more still to you.
If there's a better place to go, somewhere that was quiet, it would be preferred.
I was going to say, I imagine your character would kind of go to an area, if it's not at the harbor, but more to another area we can still overlook the sea. Almost like...
Yeah, that's not a bad idea, yeah.
Because that was an intense experience. Your character has gone through... somebody who was kind of born into a semi-quiet life. You've gone through some pretty extreme moments that have defined who you are as a person. And I imagine you're kind of reflecting back on that, 16-hour period that was just... your whole world got turned upside down.
Yeah,
So like take a minute just sitting right there thinking how you became the prince of a town called the ocean.
Yeah, it's definitely like that. It would have been a humbling experience because of he trusts his skills that he has, but his skills were useless in that situation. And that's like a very like that was very much he was at the whim of everything that was happening.
I imagine
he would meditate on that and sort of the humbling that is that.
my camera overheated even though I have my fan on. Oh no, you know what it must be? Oh crap. I didn't realize how warm it was here. I have 2 heaters on because it was freezing this morning because it's been raining for days. My office is 75 Fahrenheit, which for those that still bow to a king, 24 Celsius, which is actually really warm. I didn't even realize that. So the ambient air must have been just too warm and it overheated it. Because when I bought these fans, they both function, but immediately as I installed it, one of them broke. Like immediately as I installed them, one of them broke, and so only one fan functions.
Shall we take this moment to go on a break?
1 second, sorry.
Or we could keep going.
Well, I have another camera. We should go on a break in a moment, but let me first finish.
Yeah, I like the sound of 24. That sounds nice.
Let me just finish.
24 is about my ideal temp, I think. Just
it's so
24 with a
warm.
breeze.
Well, if you're talking about outside and inside are 2 different things, right?
I guess that's true. Yeah.
Like 24 or
actually,
75 is
that,
very
that
warm.
being said, 24 is like what I set my aircon on to.
Yeah. Like that's warm for indoors. You know what I mean? Like now that I'm realizing it, I'm like now that I'm just stood
my
up, I'm
air
like, warm.
conditioner as in cooling, I set to 24.
Yeah, no, I know what you meant.
What, in summer?
Yeah. When it's
Fuck
really
that. I
hot.
set my
16,
aircon to
17.
18.
Yeah, is that I
Oh,
said
fuck.
17. Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
No, look, I put it this way: 24 is like I feel worried to going down to 24 because I grew up with a dad who was one of those ones that was very much like the power, like energy is like gold. You can't waste it. How dare you put the air conditioner on? We don't need
You
it.
set it to 18, which is 64.4. That's crazy cold.
That's like
What?
that's nice and cool. That's not cold.
In the summertime, walking in from like 92 degrees to 64, that's a shock.
It's a good shock, is what it is.
I would say I probably set it to like
18 is refreshing. I'd agree. 18 is refreshing.
I would set it's like for what you guys would be like a 21.2 or 21.1. What I don't know if you guys actually use the decimal place or not, but that region there was 70 degrees for me.
We gotta remember if you're coming in from like 30, 40 degree heat and then you come into like 21, you're like, eh. But if you come into 18, you're like, oh.
Oh boy.
Yep.
Oh boy. That's oof. Hey, don't get me wrong, I like it cold. When I used to work in restaurants, I would go, if I was working the line, I would step into the freezer, which is -10 Fahrenheit. I'm not sure what that is in Celsius, but it's -10 Fahrenheit is what I would step into to cool down. I'd be in there like, let my armpits get all over the food in here. Luckily it's all vacuum sealed.
It's disgusting.
Yeah. But I either way. -23 Celsius is -10 Fahrenheit. There you go. So either way.
Anyway, yeah. So I think he would find somewhere to meditate, sort of thing. Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah. So continuing. So the you guys are so I imagine your character after you're like done spending some time kind of like really reflecting on this moment because your character is actually, even though he's a warrior type, he's actually very reflective as well. He spends a lot of time kind of like being introspective.
Nerd.
Kind of has to be, right? So
Yeah.
I imagine he would even walking along a long walk on the beach as he finishes taking it up and he knows that he's going to be leaving these shores to head inland on the harbor. I imagine kind of like a stone would like catch his eye along the beach, or I imagine a stone more than a shell for somebody like him, and he would kind of like
not a shell.
grab up like a sea pebble, and gather that and kind of like keep it amongst himself as almost like a trinket.
Yeah.
to bring with him. Please don't allow me to take over your character. It just sounds
No,
like
no, no. I think that's actually a good point. I was trying to think about what he would do to. Yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. Because I was thinking about something like that, but that works better, I think.
I mean, every ocean has different not ocean, sorry. Every like country has different kind of rocks that would wash up ashore.
Also,
so I
given
imagine
his affinity with like crystals and such, like minerals and stones, and that would
Quartz.
mean a bit more to him, sort of thing.
There's quartz that wash up on shore all the time over here. So I mean,
Yeah, then he'd find something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, like semi-translucent stones and whatnot that you would find. So you could definitely find something like a quartz, like an oceanic quartz or whatever it might be. I think quartz is actually made by volcanic activity, isn't it? It's a magneous.
I have no idea.
Isn't it? Neil, I expect you to know this stuff.
I don't know. It's dense, so that seems likely. But I have no clue. I wouldn't call it a translucent stone either. It's a semi precious crystal.
Volcanic, yeah. Okay, cool. I thought so. Thank you. So I thought it was volcanic. So yeah, so you imagine underwater oceans kind of like spewing out the quartz that eventually gets washed up on shore, and you see like a particularly nice looking bit of quartz that's there, catches your eye, you grab it and you bring it with you. Neil, you clutch onto your bed. Go ahead and make me a fortitude save. And Jake, you go about and you, while also being a degree, it's one of those things where I imagine you get teased a little bit by other officers that you might happen to interact with, but your character is actually to a degree sociable because of your upbringing. You get a little bit teased with your sea legs as you come aboard and kind of like almost crab walking along. Either way, Tristan himself wakes up the next day and he still is uneasy. The world is spinning. It's like, Neil, you've been hungover before. It's like having a hangover. If you've never experienced having motion sickness beyond returning from the sea, it's like having a hangover. Okay, you look like you were going to say something. So, flashing forward, Jake, the next day, you want to actually go and procure some of this stuff when you want to go to the warehouse. Do you bring any of these boys with you?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. You gather them, you inform them of where it is you're going. There's a warehouse that has supplies. I might be able to get my hands on some more of this beeswax stuff. And I imagine you already explained to them what this wax and potpourri do.
Yep, I would have explained on the ship exactly. He would have probably almost plotted out the course and step by step what we're going to do. And this is for, warding off scrags. This is for the sturges and all that. He would have been very methodical.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So some of that stuff, of course, we'll have Tristan chiming in on at another point. But obviously you would go, Tesh. But Neil, would your character actually go to the warehouse, or are you still uncomfortable?
Yeah, he'd go. We need to have enough of this to protect Karok.
So
he's a hell of a lot tastier than any of these scrawny little boys.
So the two of you are
poor Karok in the storm.
Karok's also somewhat used to again, but it's a horse. It would just kind of deal with it. It'd be freaking out. Luckily, it didn't have a heart attack. Anyway, so you as you guys are going there, you guys are feeling significantly better. The next day, just sore. Your muscles are just sore. Poor Tristan occasionally just kind of like stops every once in a while you guys are walking, especially if you're like doing one of those, you gotta like walk up a steep hill, one of those ones you can really feel it in your thighs as you're walking up a hill for a minute. You imagine you're halfway up the hill, he literally just like stop and like put his hand on like a building nearby, just kind of like not necessarily catch his breath because he's in great shape, it's just steady himself before he continues pushing on because he's just disoriented. He has I can't remember what it's called, but when you're off balance. Either way, so it starts heading up the hill, and eventually you guys are going to make your way to the warehouse. Why don't we actually take our break here before we do this last little bit, and then finally start heading north in the bay. If you want to wonder why we're not at the gate yet, hashtag Storm Viking. No. Hurricane Magoo. Bye, everybody. Be right back.
Okay.
All right.